Hey guys, a bit of a different video today. I wanted to do a bit of a Q&A video. I wanted to talk about common questions that I get asked all the time to hopefully clear up some air on what I do and why I do it. I think the obvious question to start with is, are you Lord Crobath? Yes. I should probably rebrand the channel name to that though, since Blaze Music kind of doesn't really have anything to do with anything, so yeah, I am Lord Crobath, and maybe I should be from now on. I think the most common question I get asked is simply, why? Why all the range wanking? Why does every cover need to have 6 octaves of range in it? What's the point of doing notes that maybe nobody can hear? Well, there's many reasons. One is simply that I find it fun to experiment with these kind of things. One is also just to meme on the Range Planet, who keeps saying my notes are fake, and so the ever-expanding extreme notes section just looks more and more hilarious against those claims. But those are just kind of side reasons that are just funny. I think mainly I just think it's something unique. It's some kind of my own signature to the covers that I do. I don't like covering songs note for note to the point where it makes no difference if you just listen to the original in the first place. I never liked perfect copycat kind of stuff. So I add my own ideas. I'll sing a phrase an octave lower or an octave higher than the original, I'll add some screams, I'll add some extreme notes here and there, I'll experiment with things. And it doesn't always work, but it's all in the spirit of fun. Certainly, I think the main thing I want to emphasize is that at no point is this about showing off how much better I am than the singer I'm covering, or anything close to that kind of mentality. I really just spontaneously do whatever comes to mind, and at the end of the day I don't really care so much if people like it or not. Another question I get often is why the quality fluctuation? Sometimes I'll post covers that I think are pretty good, and many people seem to agree. But other times I'll post something that just sounds horrible, and there's everything in between those two extremes. So why the inconsistency? So I'm not a perfectionist by any stretch, by any definition, and I know that it works against me, but that's just how I've always done things. For my older projects, like the Monster Beast album, every song on that album was entirely made, recorded, and produced in the span of an afternoon. Similarly with my covers, I come here to this practice space twice a week for 2 hours, and in those 2 hours I listen to a song, I learn it, I practice it, and I take 2 or 3 takes of it, and that's it. I work with that. It's very rare that I'd actually spend significant time or several practice sessions on a single track, and so that results in a lot of inconsistencies quality-wise, because sometimes I can be familiar enough with the song, sometimes not. Sometimes my voice works well, sometimes not. The reason I do things this way is just that I like the challenge. It keeps things fun and exciting, and there's always something new to do, new things to learn. And while I understand that things I post aren't always some kind of high-quality stuff, the advantage is that through this I've been able to learn a massive variety of techniques and styles in a very short span of time that I otherwise wouldn't have. Additionally, it keeps me motivated because every week I have a new challenge. Instead of spending weeks and weeks getting down some minuscule details of a song, and sure, those details are important if you're making some professional studio record or whatever, but I'm just not a perfectionist. If I don't have to do it, I'll avoid it. I hate that kind of stuff, and I think I'd lose interest in singing really quickly if I spent months on a single song and would be banging my head against the wall trying to get the perfect tone or inflection or melody or whatever of a certain singer, just like on the record, you know, just so I can copy them perfectly. There will for sure come a time where I spend more time on songs, but for now I like to keep it fun, and it's also kind of like a progress diary that I get to make every week. My videos get like no views. Technically my channel is mostly just for me to follow my own progress, and if someone wants to join in, welcome. Let's have fun together. Do you perform live? What's the longest you can sing live? Yes, I do perform live quite a bit, and you can also catch me at the local karaoke bar. And I also do some more extreme notes live. I do keep it within certain limits because this kind of wide vocal range stuff is a bit of a nightmare for sound engineers. One time after a show we did, the sound engineer came up to me and he said that it took him until half the gig to realize that the whistle notes I was doing were not mic feedback, but that it was actually me. So I keep it within certain limits, at least until we have our own sound guy that's familiar with our material. As far as the longest time I can sing goes, I don't really know. We've had set lists of 2 hours, or, well, 2 sets of 1 hour for a combined length of 2 hours. And I manage that. At karaoke I can last all evening. So I don't really know. But it also depends when I'm doing the thing. Because I'm very strongly a morning person. So if we have a show at like 11 p.m., my voice is dead tired and it's incredibly hard to put on a performance. And at such times I would prefer that the set list is as short as possible. But if it's some kind of day gig, like a festival, that's my comfort zone. I can sing all afternoon if needed. Unfortunately, though, we haven't had many day gigs. What other hobbies do you have? What don't I have? So, just like I jump from style to style in music, I have a lot of interests hobby-wise. I do voice acting, for example. I do a bit of magic. I practice sports shooting. I play chess, board games, Yu-Gi-Oh! I like going out in nature. Maybe my most unusual hobby is that I like reading science articles. I like reading studies related to anything like psychology, nutrition, health, science, whatever it may be. And that's something that maybe not a lot of people like to do. But yeah, I do a crazy amount of things. Chances are I've done your interest at some point in my life. So how do you actually do those extreme notes? Well, this person asked for a full tutorial of everything that I do, but I think I'm gonna focus on just the extremes because I get asked about those all the time. Starting with the lows, there are a couple techniques that I've done. So the one for the most extreme notes, like the minus octave notes, is what I call a subgrowl, and it sounds like this.
Not quite an angel or the one that fear. Now choose to join us, so go take you here.
So maybe the best way you can do this is pretend you're gargling water, like, you know, if you take... You know, that, but do it without water, like... As you blow air out, if you don't make any noise, you're gonna notice that there's like a sound coming through, like... So that's your starting point, and then what you need to do is hold back air and focus on the lower undertones, and eventually you'll be able to practice it to get to a kind of bassy sound, like, you know. Adding just a bit of EQ and reverb makes it sound like it should. Super whistles are much harder because there's no sound or action that we do in our daily lives that even remotely resembles what you need to do for this. So it's very hard to give this a tutorial. The way I found this out was just, I was doing whistle notes, and at some point I noticed that there were like these kind of like voice cracks that were seeping through. Right, so you see there was like that little voice crack that was like an octave higher over the whistle note. So that kind of stuff was happening to me, and then I was thinking about, how do I control this? Can I stop my voice there and hold that voice crack? It is possible, but through an insane amount of trial and error. It's kind of like doing normal whistle register, but, and I hate using the word constrict because it sounds unhealthy, but it is like, when you're singing whistle register, you are kind of constricting because you're trying to make your vocal folds, because you're trying to make the gap between your vocal folds as small as possible to get that whistle tone out, right? Like, right? And so what you're trying to do is you are constricting even more in order to make that gap even smaller, essentially. And so that feels like constriction maybe from the bottom up, like, right? Now, like I said, this is a shit ton of trial and error, and as far as I know, only Nicolas Seda and me have gotten this to any like reasonable, useful degree. It's certainly the hardest thing I've ever learned in singing, and it's not something I would recommend to somebody who just started out or is just wondering how to do something cool, because it is really hard. How many languages do you sing in? Oh boy, English, Slovenian, Croatian, German, Italian, Finnish, Japanese, and then I've done songs in Swedish, Icelandish, and Limburgish with some folk projects that I've done. And I'm trying to learn French pronunciation well enough so I can do a Clair Obscur cover, because I really like the soundtrack of that game. And the last question I want to address is any of what you do fake? Well, usually my videos are lip-synced, because I lost the patience with data getting corrupted, my phone falling over in the middle of recording, wasting time with the recording setup during my 2-hour practice session when I could be, practicing. So usually my videos are lip-synced now. It's just kind of, it has become like that over time. And it's not just one take on the covers, it's usually 2 or 3 takes that are cut together into the best version possible. So yeah, it's not just one take, but it is close to that. In terms of hit notes, I don't think there has ever been like an instance where we would fake notes or do anything like that. There's some stuff in the Range Planet thread that's listed in questionable notes that was like, okay, this is pitch shifted, but it was like meme projects from long ago. At least certainly in the last couple of years, everything I've released has been as legit as you can get. I have a couple times corrected notes, certainly with those highest whistle notes. If I can't hear the note, then, we see if I basically hit the note, and then I can, snap it by those 30 cents sharp or flat or whatever it was. But at least it's always something in the ballpark, and I don't think it's fair to call it fake, because it's not really a skill issue, it's more like a ear issue, But yeah, all those 9th octave and minus octave notes are legitimate, and there's no tricks that are there. That I actually am that autistic. Anyway, that's all. It's a bit of a different thing today, but I hope that was informative and that I answered your questions. See you in the next week with new videos. Cheers.